Let us pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, homage to Master Dubden Dorje, homage to the three jewels of the altar, homage to the main deity of the good practice tonight, Padma Kumara of the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds, Sumo Dan Gato Tutan Siddhi, all Dharma Masters, Dharma Educators, Dharma Teachers, Dharma Lecturers, Dharma Assistants, Directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do?
Aishiteru Sharange Hola amigo, que quiero mucho. Sukoin, Ichiban, Kimochi, Jumi, Yapi, Purin Purin, Konbanwa.
Good evening. Today we practice Padma Kumara. And we all know that we have talked about Padma Kumara many times. There's no need to repeat. But the origin of Padma Kumara, actually his origin was Amitabha Buddha. And we all know about Amitabha Buddha. He's the main reliance of the Sukhavati, or the Western realm of utmost bliss, commonly known as Western paradise. So Amitabha Buddha had a little bit of origin in Tibet. Let me tell you a little bit. A long, long time ago, Amitabha Buddha was at Sukhavati. And look at a very far away place, passing through a billion Pure Lands. Through a billion Pure Lands saw the samsara or Sahawul. And at that time, at Sakyamuni Buddha was giving Dharma teaching in samsara. And there was a light, there was a ray of light radiated at a certain place. He saw very far away, at a great distance, and saw a little bit of light. And where did that light come from? He he could sense
那
it.
地方叫做雪域，
And that place was called 雪域,
就是西藏啊。
which was Tibet. 雪 is a
释迦
snow,
牟尼佛
the land of the
他看
snowy
出来
land, or
释
the
迦
land
牟
of
尼
the
佛
snow.
已经要涅槃，
So he could tell that Sakyamuni Buddha was about to
但
enter
是血
Nirvana,
域的众生
Parinirvana.
他还没有度，
However, he had not delivered
所以他
the
叫来
beings
他
in the
华
snowy
裔最大
land.
的弟子，
So he
那就是
asked his disciple with the greatest power, which was Avalokitesvara
观
Bodhisattva.
世音菩萨
So Avalokitesvara
沙
Bodhisattva
婆世界，
go to Samsara
跟释迦牟尼佛讲，
and tell
你
Sakyamuni
还有一个
Buddha
地方没有度，
that you have not
你
delivered
必须要去跟他
this
讲，
one place.
叫他留在沙婆世间的寿命
Tell
稍
him
微长一点，
to extend his lifespan in Samsara a
不
little
要
bit
那么快
longer,
涅槃，
not
观世
go
音菩
into
萨
Parinirvana that soon.
领了这一道命令，
So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva received this
到了沙婆世界。
command and immediately went to Samsara.
这个观世音菩萨从天而降，
So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva descended from the
有童男
sky
童女，
with
有所
parasol
有的天神
and
拥
the
护他下降，
youthful boy and girl and all the celestial
Sakyamuni
beings
Buddha
supporting him to
跟所有
descend. And
那个
Sakyamuni
沙婆世
Buddha
界的菩萨都看
and
到
all the
观世音菩萨
bodhisattvas
从天
in the Saha world saw that Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva descended from heavens.
然后观世音菩萨对释迦牟尼佛讲，
So Avalokitesvara told
请这
Sakyamuni
个沙
Buddha,
婆世界的依孤主
we
释迦牟尼
invite the main reliance of
且
the
慢
Saha
涅槃
world, Sakyamuni,
因为
to
有一个地方
wait before
你还
entering
没有去度
Parinirvana,
化，
because there is one
那个
place
地
that
方
you have not
就是距你
delivered,
距你不远的地方，
and that place
叫做
is not
雪域
far from your place.
就是西
It's
藏。
called the snowy land, which is Tibet.
其实啊，佛陀降生的地方是在尼
Actually,
泊尔，我们
Sakyamuni,
大家
the
去过。
Buddha's birthplace was in
那不
Nepal.
一样
You've been there, the Lumbini Park.
那么尼泊尔在过去就是西藏了嘛，
And next to Nepal
就是
is
雪域啊。
Tibet,
尼泊尔在
the
中间
snowy
呢，
land.
天竺、尼泊尔
Nepal is between India and Tibet.
血域还没有度
India,
化，怎么
Nepal,
可以涅
and
槃？
Tibet. So you have not delivered beings
释
in
迦牟尼佛对观
the
世音菩
snowy
萨讲
land. How can you enter into Parinirvana? So Sakyamuni Buddha
我
told
已经
Avalokitesvara
三转法轮，
Bodhisattva, I have turned the Dharma wheel
一
3
转法轮
times.
在鹿野
The
苑，
first turning was at the deer park,
讲这个苦集灭道、
teaching
四圣
the
谛
Four Noble
二
Truths.
转法轮，
The second
在
turning
王舍城
was at Rajagriha.
在王舍城，
At Rajagriha.
我讲
And I spoke on
三转法
non-phenomena.
轮，
And the third turning of the Dharma
在
wheel
莲花城，
was at the Lotus City.
问大家讲的是什么？
Let me ask you, what did he speak on?
了义，了
The
义，
absolute reality.
好啦，
Okay.
我责任已了，
My duties
我要
are
涅
done.
槃
I want to enter Parinirvana.
我要涅槃，我已经三转法轮了，
I
我要
have
涅槃了。
turned
观
the
世音
Dharma
菩
wheel
萨
3
讲那血
times.
域呢？血
And
域谁去度
Avalokitesvara
化？
Bodhisattva
你
asked, and
涅
how
槃
about
了，谁去
Tibet?
度化？
Who's going to deliver Tibet
释迦牟
or
尼
snowy
有讲
land?
来问我的，
And Sakyamuni Buddha
就
said,
跟他有缘。
whoever asked the question must have the affinity. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, oh no, that's bad luck for me. I am the one asking you, and then you're saying that I have affinity with it. So Avalokitesvara returned and reported to Amitabha Buddha. And then Amitabha Buddha told Avalokitesvara, then why don't you just stay in samsara? Since Sakyamuni Buddha said that, that means you have affinity with the snowy land. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva came to samsara and stayed at the Buddha Loka, which is Mount Puto. And there he accepted a disciple called Yen Ho, who was referred as the Zen master Yen Ho. And this Zen master had affinity with the snowy land. So he told the Zen master, you go to a cave in Tibet and cultivate spiritually there. And the Zen master Yen Ho obeyed and went to the snowy land of Tibet and stayed in that cave to cultivate spiritually. After a period of time, because the land of the Tibet was occupied by yaksas, there was one that was called the rock yaksa, who manifested or transformed to become a beautiful lady to seduce the Zen master Yen Ho. And Yen Ho Master Yen Ho said, oh no, my desire is not gone yet, and then this beautiful lady is trying to seduce me. What can I do? And he went back to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and asked, oh, what should I do? And Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said, oh, you have affinity with that lady, that woman. So he had no choice but to marry that beautiful yaksa. Now we don't call marriage, we don't call it marriage anymore, we call it chained together or connected. So the rock yaksa and the Zen master Hoje were together and gave birth to a child that did not look like Yen Ho nor yaksa, but he looked like a human being with great power. Oh, the Zen master Yen Ho, which is kind of like an ape, had great power. He was called the Great Power Ape. So he sent off his son to the forest in the snowy land, and inside it there were many monkeys. Yen Ho means apes. So this man, this kid, coupled with all the female monkeys in the forest and give birth to 400 children. And they don't look like the apes, but they look like human beings. And these 400 children were the ancestors of Tibetans. They were the ancestors of the Tibetans. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva observed that the snowy land is for him to deliver. Therefore, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva manifested in the snowy land, which is Tibet. Therefore, as I have said before, that Tibet, all of Tibet is the spiritual center of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. The so-called Dalai Lama today is also a transformation of Avalokitesvara. And all the karma paths are also emanations of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. That's how it came about. And what was the first of the earliest origin was Amitabha Buddha. He observed so far away to Tibet, and he could see that dot, the light of the snowy mountain, the snowy land. So where did this illusion came from? Or this parable. So it's from the king Songtsan Gampo, the Tibetan king Songtsan Gampo. He wrote the history of Tibet. Have you ever read it? Have you read this book? Is it in the on the internet? How come everything is on the internet? Then why don't you just view your cell phones then?
COVID-19
At the time of COVID-19, friends, please wear your mask. It can save your lives, really. Yesterday, one of my friends went shopping with his girlfriend, and on the street, his wife all of a sudden was in front of him, but the wife did not recognize him because of the mask who saved his life. In the future, wherever Grandmaster goes, I would wear a mask. I have a mask, and I wear it wherever I go. And then I would wear sunglasses, and then wear wig. I wouldn't be afraid even if Sumo sees me. Oh, today I got shocking news. What news? It's been decades. Not decades, right? Perhaps centuries. It turned out that the wife of Qu Yuan is called Qi Chen Si. This is Chinese play of words.
原来七元投江了以后啊，七成氏从来没有再嫁，所以呢，七成氏都是不二嫁，是不是啊？他没有跟你一嫁的空间。
Ever since Qu Yuan is a legend in China.
买什么嫁，可是买什么嫁。
It turned out that the wife of Qu Yuan is called Qi Chen Si. This is Chinese play of words. 买他定了什么嫁就买什么嫁。
Qu Yuan 的
A legend in China. So, and 屈臣氏 is the name of a store that says no bargain, which is playful in China, which is not married again. It's a joke. Now we will do the question and answer. A question from Malaysia. 莲花一世 It's like persimmons. Is it a man or a woman? You can eat persimmons. And he or she wrote, Homage to the most beloved lineage Guru, the Buddha Lianshan. Could you please resolve my confusion? How do I relieve the bondage with karmic debtors so that they don't attach to us? Thank you. Om Guru Lianshan Siddhi Hom. Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha Buddha. And your disciple, Lianhua Yisi. So he or she asked, how to avoid a karmic creditor to attach to us. We have talked about this a lot, right? How to resolve the bondage with karmic creditors. We've talked about this a lot. And he or she still doesn't know. Is it a man? Is it a human being or a ghost? Are you talking about human beings or ghosts? All the masters and reference, don't be like woods sitting there unmoved. How do you resolve the bondage of karmic creditors? Can you stand up and say something? Anyone? Who would stand up and say something? Yan practice the Avalokitesvara Bodhi Mandala. Please sit. That's only one of them. That's the practice to avert calamities. To avert calamities. Yeah, I guess we can say to avert the karmic creditor's bondage. To practice smoke offering to the karmic creditors. That's also one of the methods, one of the ways. Offerings to ghosts and gods. To the Garuda. And then solitary and wandering ghosts and yaksas and monsters, may they be fulfilled with the sweet nectars. That's also one of the ways. To repay with virtues. So if a creditor comes and you just eat them up, use
以怨报德，
the Dharma of
来
no
化解
self.
那个怨，对方还是德啊，你是怨啊，搞了半天是你吃它。
So you're the
无我法也可以，无我
predators,
法也可以。
and then you eat them
你
up.
既然无我了，
So no
冤
self,
从何起呀？
the practice of no self is also a
没
way
有办法跟你结了。
because you have no more self. So how can they attach to you?
转世为智啊，把这个
Transform consciousness
智
into
变
wisdom.
成智，这接近差不多是无为法。
That's the practice of
接近无为法，
non-action.
也是一个方法。
That's
大家
also a
都会
way.
讲嘛。
So many, everybody can say.
再来呢，
What else?
修忏悔法，
To
念
repent,
经持咒，
chant sutras and mantra and dedicate the merit to them.
拜忏，法会参加
It's
法会，
repentance ceremonies, attending ceremonies, printing sutras,
持咒回向，
chanting mantras and dedicating the merits, or chanting the Siddhigarbha Sutras
给冤亲债主，
and dedicate the
都是可以
merits to the
的。
karmic creditors. All
很多啊，大家都讲
can,
出来
well,
了。
all can
好
work.
了，
Many, everybody
那已
said.
经解决你的问题了。
So
还有什么要
we've
问的？
resolved that question. What other question now?
你实在没有办法，师尊讲一个法给你听。
If you really have no other ways, let me
妈妈哄你说哈，
let Grandmaster teach you a Dharma
观想
practice.
大白伞
Hom
盖
Mama
在虚
Hom
空
Ni
之中，
Soha. Visualize the
他
Siddhartha
穿白衣，
in the sky, wearing
哇
white
千手千眼，
garments,
持着白伞
transform
盖
into
现象
thousand eyes and thousand arms,
然后他的伞
holding a
盖盖住
parasol
你的身上，
descending, and let the parasol
盖
cover
在
your
你的身
body.
上。你那个他来找你，没有办法
So
进
when
来，你的伞
they
盖非
are
常的
looking
坚
for
硬。
you, they cannot come
妈妈
nearby
哄你
because the
说
parasol is
这个是
extremely
减
strong.
夹咒，
Hom
减
Mama
夹咒
Hom Ni Soha
哄妈妈哄你说哈，
is the
实在不行
strengthening,
那个
the protection mantra.
连伞盖它都可以破，
If that does not work and they can
你
break
念
in
大
through
白
the
伞盖的
parasol,
回遮咒，
then you can chant the repelling mantra of Siddhartha.
他敢碰这个伞盖，就再
If
弹回
they
去。
dare to touch the parasol,
等于
they
这个
would
伞
be
盖的大白伞
they
盖的
would
力
bounce
量
back,
回
they would be
遮
repelled.
回到给那个燕姐，那不
So
行
the power of
燕姐的更深，
Siddhartha mantra would
被你弹走
repel
了，
them.
那燕姐的更深，
Then
是
the
可以避一时，
the resentments would be even worse. So you can avoid it only for the moment, but not forever. So you should still find a ways to use your virtues to alleviate
我就是
the resentments or the
大
hatred,
家讲了很多的方法，
not the other way
实
around.
时给你，
So many people talk about the
做烟
ways.
供给你，
So making offerings, chanting sutras, printing sutras, and dedicating to you, and performing repentance, and all the good deeds that I do, dedicate the merit to you, chant Siddhigarbha Sutra and dedicate to you, and Bardo deliverance, to Bardo deliver you so that you can be reborn in the Pure Land.
都是以德报怨，
So you use
以恩报
your
德，以恩报
virtues
德你就给他
to
吃了，
repay their
你
hatreds
变
or
成你吃了
resentments,
它，
not using your resentment to repay their
好啦。
virtues.
莲花
Then
一
you
世，
would be eating it.
马来西亚莲花一世问的，
Question
原来
asked by
你是
Lian Hua
可以
Yi
吃
Si.
的。
So you can be eaten. It turned out
这个答案很好啊，大家都讲了，
the answer is also
集
good.
体回答你的问题。
So that's a collective answer. Answers collectively answered by everybody. You're truly fortunate.
好，马来西亚卓思芬
From Malaysia, 卓思芬
着丝分，有一个丝的，
着丝分。
它的中间这个名字是丝。
The middle name is
下一本书叫做
which is poem.
小雨宜小诗。
My new book is titled
小雨
Drizzle
因为
and
我过去写过梦言
Poems.
小雨。
So drizzles, I have written a book called Drizzles in the Garden of Dreams
有没有散文写完
and
写了
little
几句话
poems.
以后就写一首诗
I often
叫做
write
小诗
poems, like at the end of my prose or article, I would add a little bit of poems.
姓
So
卓
little
名
poems.
诗就是写小
This
诗的
person,
诗
Zhuo Sifen
非
from
常好，这个
Malaysia.
名字很好。
This name is very good.
这个顶礼师父、师母、师尊、
Homage
师
to
母好。
Grandmasters and
有一
Simu.
次
How
在
are
法
you,
会期
Grandmaster
间
and Simu?
有一个人被
One
鬼
time,
附身，
during a ceremony, someone was attached by a ghost,
有
and
很大的动作，
afterwards
很
there
兴
was
奋的持师尊心咒，
clear
我们大
actions
家都不知道该怎么
and
做。
chanting the Root Guru mantra happily, and
有
we
个
did not know what to
同个
do.
困难，有一段期间，
And
自己
there
的
was
亲
a
戚
difficulty
连半
that
夜的
for a period of
2点
time
到
our
3点
relative
都打电话
at 2 or
来
3
给自己的
a.m.
全家
would
求救，
call
说
us
他的老
for
婆被
help
鬼上身，
and
我们全
asking
家
for
都不知
help
道该怎么
that
样
his
帮
wife
他们。
was attached by a
请问
ghost
师
and we
尊
did not know how
以
to
后
help them.
真佛弟子如
So
果在
Grandmaster,
遇
in the
到
future,
有人被
if a
鬼
true
附
Buddha
身，
school
真
disciple
佛弟子是
encounters
可以怎
someone
么
being
做？
attached by
非
ghosts,
常感
what
谢
can we
师
do?
尊的慈悲救度，
Thank you
弟
for
子
your
顶礼感恩
compassionate
师尊。
deliverance.
就
We
是
pay
说被
homage to
鬼
you.
附身。
So being attached by
他
ghost.
有一次法会，有一个人被鬼附身，这个鬼附身以后还可以
So one time during a ceremony, someone is being attached by ghosts, and afterwards he chanted the Root Guru mantra happily.
这个鬼会念师尊心
So
咒，
the
很少
ghosts
有。
can chant
也是人在
Grandmaster's
持那个
mantra.
师尊心
That's
咒，
rare.
还是
Was
鬼
it the
在持
person who
心咒
chanted, or
师
was
尊
it the
心咒？
ghosts who chanted?
这是一个问题，这是一个问题
That's the question.
啊，这是一个问题。其实我们有很多的金刚法
We have many
啊，师尊
Vajra
来讲
practices.
有很多的金刚法，也
Grandmaster
有很多的
has many
慈悲
Vajra
慈悲
practices, and Grandmaster has
坦白
many
告诉大家啊， 师
exorcism
尊以前在台
practices
湾
or practices to subdue ghosts.
从力行路3
When Grandmaster was living in
337
Taiwan,
巷7号搬出来
Li
以
Xing
后
Road 337's lane number 7,
那
we
边
moved
度
from
过一段
there
时间
to a lane on an
再来
aisle
就
in
搬到
Jingwu
太平
Road,
的宜兴社
and then we moved to
在
the
那里买了
Yixing
一个
community in Taiping, and we bought a
我
Rambler.
在那里专门做驱
And
鬼的
there
动作，
I especially did lots of exorcism.
很多的鬼上身的人都送到
Many people who were
这个太
attached by
平
ghosts
宜兴社区，
were sent
我不要
to
讲
the
因为恐怕那个房子会
second
卖不出去。
village in the Yixing community in Taiping. I will not say
宜
which
兴
number,
社区
otherwise that house
台
will
中
not
太平宜兴
sell.
社区，我住在平房，
That's the Taiping
那时候我
area
觉得
of Taichung.
哇，住那个平房
I stayed in a
很
Rambler there,
非常
and I
非
thought
常
that's
快乐
really,
是我
really
平生
comfortable,
第一栋
very
的
nice,
自己买的房子，
because
跟
that
师
was
母一起买的
my first ever house
住在
that
那里
the first house ever that I
那里住的
bought
众生非
together
常
with
的多
Simu. And over there I delivered extremely
这个
many sentient beings. And during that time, Master Lian Si and Lian Zhu took refuge during that time. During that time, there was a psychiatric ward in Taichung called Jinghe, and the psychiatrist there said, if you cannot get cured here, why don't you try to find Seng Yen Lu? So the psychiatrists were the one that said that. There was one who was cured, who came to California. It was quite sensational that I cured him or her. And there were many more. They came with chains on their feet and hands, or wrists and ankles. They were being dragged in. And woman that's breathing at me as soon as she got in, like this. She breathed out to me, and Simu was next to me and was really scared. And but she's seen so much, so she started to develop courage and back and move forward. And I had a Heruka of Vajra God with me that attached to my body. And that was from Beigang. That lived at the Mazu temple in Beigang. Which is a director there. Zhou Jianghe, the person called Zhou Jianghe that gave me that deity which I enshrine at the center of my altar. He would manifest. And with that female ghost, I would do that. So we had to fight. Did you know? And she dropped down. And then she stood up, joined her palms, and sat next to me. A beautiful lady, very beautiful. Yet she blew her breath at me. After she got well, she sat next to me and kept pushing me, and I did not have any space left. And then she extended her arm and embraced Grandmaster's neck and told me in my ear, Grandmaster, thanks for saving me. Marry me. She wants to marry me. I was young then. And frankly speaking, she doesn't look bad. And I'm also not bad. I was not bad at all, except my height. And she said she wanted to marry me. But good thing that she said it in a soft voice that Simu did not hear. And I told her, that's good. that you're well now. Let's talk about it in the future, about the marriage.
那个我也救了。
Let's talk about the marriage in the future. So I save her too. Really. That's how it is about ghosts attaching to humans. And the others too, with chains on their wrists and ankles. As I said before, all of them put into a train wouldn't be enough. A train wouldn't be enough to carry them all. I don't know how many of them. And I kicked out all the ghosts. Very simple. Whenever the Vajra god come to my body, then I exorcised them all. I did not use any other ways. So I let the Vajra god to attach to myself and exorcise them. That's how Grandmaster subdue ghosts and devils or maras with the Vajra protectors or Vajra gods. And then they left. But they stayed at that house. And then I moved to where? Next I moved to the Le Sing building. And then I moved to the townhouse next to the Venerable Yinxun, called the Linxian Jingse. So it's like a townhouse, which shares the same wall, next door to Yinxun Master. That's my last house in Taiwan. I wanted to sell it, so my sister bought it from me, and then she raised the price and sold it to someone from Taipei. I don't know whether that person from Taipei ever lived there. When I returned to the Yixing community, they built tall buildings, high rises around it. Only that house was still a rambler, and nobody ever lived there. So I asked the neighbors, how come that house was empty, the house that I stayed in before? And they all said haunted. So that's a haunted house. So I felt bad. You know why? When I exorcised all those ghosts, I did not send them off to Sukhavati or let them reincarnate. So they continually stayed there. So any human beings living in there, they were all chased out until now. I don't know if there's anybody living there, or it had been dilapidated and changed into a high-rise. I don't know. It's been a few years, but before nobody ever lived there. So the question that you ask, you use the Vajra Dharma practice to exorcise the ghost. You use the Vajra Dharma practice to exorcise the ghost, and then you do bardo deliver and pass the ghost to the one who turned the wheels to bardo deliver. But I did not bardo deliver the ghost, so the ghost stayed at that rambler and it became a haunted house. The neighbors all said nobody dared to live there. Nobody lived there.
那个门啊，还是
A rambler
那
there.
个
And the door,
莲火上师老大哈，他们以前开那个做
Master Lian Huo, the eldest brother,
台大木业公司
had
他做
the
家具，那个
Great
门
Taiwan
是他们做
Furniture
双子
Company,
的
and they made the door
很好
and
的一个门，
gave it to
房
Grandmaster.
子是
A
平
nice
房，
door.
门是最高级的门，
It was a rambler
老大老二老
house,
三
but the door was of the highest quality.
所以呢，
It was given by the three brothers.
那你没有办法附身那个金刚神附身去打鬼，那怎么办呢？
If you're not able to let the Vajra
那打电话
god
给
to
师
attach
尊
to
吧，
you, what should you do? Just make a phone call to
哎
Grandmaster,
传简讯给这个中委会，
or send a message to Buddha Foundation.
给你做
And here,
这
when
个
Grandmaster
加持的工作
sees
跟
it,
超度的工作。
I will give the blessings and Bardo deliverance for you.
真佛弟子是可以怎么做？你
How
不
can
能
a
够
true Buddha
金刚神
disciples
附你的身，或者你
do
用金刚法
if you don't know how to make the Vajra deity to attach to you,
传真到中
to
委会
exorcise the
办公室
ghosts and to Baru deliver, then you send fax to the Buddha Foundation office and Grandmaster will help you do it.
着师分的
That's the answer to Zuo Sifen from Malaysia.
昨天晚上告知父母，今天要带女朋友回家。
Last night I told my parents that I will bring my girlfriend home for dinner. But all of a sudden, my girlfriend said that she had to be on business trip. So I went home by myself, but I
刚进门
took my male employee, my co-worker. And then as soon as we got in, my dad just took a glance and then threw all the plates at him.
他老爸不懂，
Animal.
男的跟男的可以结婚了，
So the dad did not
女的跟女的也可
understand
以结婚了。
that man can marry man and woman can marry woman. And moreover, man and woman definitely can
男
get
的
married.
跟男的可以结婚，女的
In
跟女的也
Seattle,
可以
man
结
can
婚
marry man, woman can marry woman. It's the same thing in
台
Taiwan.
湾男的跟男的也可以结婚，那女的跟女的嘿，在
That
东南
man
亚
can
一带
marry
啊
man,
很
woman
少
can
有这
marry
个国
woman.
家，男的跟男的可以结婚，女的
In
跟女的
Southeast
可以
Asia,
结
it's
婚
very rare to have man marry man and woman marry woman.
好啦，这个那个只是一个笑话引起的问题。
That was an issue because of a joke. I mean,
有
the
人
topic
问
because of a joke.
大乘大圣正中分第三，
Someone
为什么
asked
师尊讲众
the
生
right and
相、
ultimate meaning of the great vehicle.
受
Why
者相？
did
受者相
Grandmaster
是指
talk
时
about
间，
the view of
众生
sentient
相是
beings
属于空间。
and the view of lifespan?
没有
Lifespans
空间，
is
没有
space
时
and
间，
sentient
有
beings
什么
is,
好？
I mean, lifespan is time and sentient beings is space. So
众生相，
when there is
大
no
乘正
time
中
and
分
no
第
space,
三，众生相
what
跟
good
受
is
者相
that? So on chapter 3, the right and ultimate meaning of the great
啊
vehicle
若菩萨有
holds
我
a
相
view
人
of
相
self,
众生
other
相受
sentient
者
beings, and
相
lifespan.
即非菩萨，那一定要无
Because if a bodhisattva holds a view of self, other sentient beings, and lifespans, then he is not a
就是
bodhisattva.
空间。受
So
者相
the
是时间
view or the phenomena of
告诉大家
sentient beings is space, and the view of
受
phenomena
者
of
相是
lifespan
时
is
间
time.
受代表时间，为什么
Lifespan
有的长寿，有的
symbolizes
短寿，
time.
有的活得
Why?
久，有
Some people live long, some people die young. So that's the phenomena of lifespan. If there were no time, as the Buddhism says, the 3 times are the same. What does it mean? The past, the present, and the future are all in one, or connected together. Grandmaster can know about his past lives, can know about his future lives. How can he know? Because there is no phenomena of lifespan. There is no time. Time was completely invented by human beings. See?
Every month, every second.
I miss you every year, every month,
minutes,
every second, every minute, every second,
every hour.
Every hour.
I miss you. 这是情人跟情人讲的话，是以前我讲的话。
These are words spoken to lovers, things that I said in the past. Whether I say it now or not, you don't know. Every second I miss you.
每一秒钟我都在想你。这个
That's incredible.
年夜日时分
Years, months, days, minutes, seconds, weeks. From beginning to end, they were all determined by human beings.
本来就没有时间的，都是人本身去。
But originally there was no time, but it was just being specified by human beings. So no phenomena of lifespan. Who can calculate it? Between heavens and earth. Can we calculate how much or how many? So Buddhism, Sakyamuni Buddha talk about it. Talk about kalpa, the initial kalpa, and the last kalpa is called the Jila kalpa. And the kalpa now is called the Vajra kalpa, as spoken in Buddhism. There's 1,000 Buddhas of the Vajra kalpa. Right? So, if you cultivate spiritually until you attain that you have no phenomena of lifespan, then you can go back to the past and you can say who you are from the past in the past. And in the future, what you will be, you can also say. And the 3 times are one and connected. The past, present, and future is the same time, one time. So that's the benefit of no phenomena of lifespan and no phenomena of sentient beings. Where I will go tonight, there is no concept of space. I will look for you wherever you are, whether you're in Malaysia, or you live in Taiwan, or in England, or France, or Sweden, or Iceland, or anywhere, North Pole, South Pole, I can go there because I have no space. If you cultivate spiritually until you reach no space, and the more incredible part is you can go to any Pure Lands or any Buddha fields, to Sukhavati, to Shita heaven of Maitreya, to Sukhavati of Amitabha, to the Jensi Pure Land of Akshoba Buddha. You can go anywhere, any worlds. That's called no space. You can do it in a blink of an eye. You don't have to fly. You don't have to ride on clouds of mist. Or you have to chant mantra and the cloud would descend and you have to climb on top of the cloud to carry you there. No need. So no phenomena of sentient beings means no space dimension. There are many more benefits, I'm telling you, right? So no view of sentient beings or lifespan. That's what Sakyamuni Buddha told Subhuti. Now, chapter 4, not dwelling on anything. The great Tachaosu and small Tachaosu. There are images of Sakyamuni Buddha that's 12 years, when he was 12 years or 18 years. How did it come about? The great Tachao temple were given by the Princess Tszun from Nepal. And one was the Princess Wencheng from the Tang dynasty. He went to Tibet to marry the local king, and that was 12 years. Sakyamuni Buddha image that was that when he was 12 years old, and the Princess Tszun from Nepal brought an image of 8 years old. So these two images of Sakyamuni Buddha, how did it get to Tibet from China and Nepal? Who carved them? Who gave them the materials? Do you know? You don't know? Maitreya Bodhisattva gave them the material. And it was carved by Gongjiang Tian, like the carpenter Tian. So Maitreya Bodhisattva collected a lot of his gold, silver and jewels and gave it to the carpenter Tian, who made the image of Sakyamuni Buddha that was 8 years old and 12 years old. Why? Do you know how tall Sakyamuni Buddha was? Anybody knows? It's called the Chukang Temple. When they wanted to sculpt the images, Sakyamuni Buddha told the carpenter that you made an image of me when I was 8 years old and 12 years old. And the carpenter said, but I don't know how tall you were when you were 8 or 12. And Sakyamuni Buddha told him, when I was little, I had a nursemaid who's still alive. So, a nurse mother. And he brought him there, and you could ask my nurse mother how tall I was when I was 8 and 12. And the carpenter found the nurse mother, and she told him, yes, I know, when I nursed him at the Kapilavastu city, at the pavilion there were two statues. One is a little bit shorter and one is taller. The smaller one is the 8-year-old, and the other one is the 12-year-old image of Sakyamuni Buddha. So the carpenter measured them. Then he knew how tall Sakyamuni Buddha was when he was 8 and 12. Grandmaster knew all these things from the past. How come you wouldn't? How come you know? The size of 8-year-old and 12-year-old that's being enshrined at the Great Jokang Temple and the lesser Jokang Temple, and the image, the appearance and the size. How come you knew? Because I have no view of sentient beings and no view of lifespan. With no view of sentient beings, I can go anywhere. With no view of lifespan, I can go back to the past. Of course, then I know. So how about you? Do you know? You don't know. The ones who don't know, don't know. The ones who know, know. What time is it? 10:13. So today I am telling stories for you. Subhuti, Sariputra, Moggallana, Ananda, 4 of them. If you go see the Sakyamuni Buddha's image when he was 8 years old and 12 years old, behind them there are 4 of his great disciples. They carved these 4 disciples behind Sakyamuni Buddha: Sariputra, Subhuti, Moggallana, and Ananda. How come Kashyapa, Mahakashyapa, is not there? Because Mahakashyapa has left Sangha. Mahakashyapa has left the Sangha because he was in a fight with Ananda. He argued with Ananda, so he wanted to leave the Sangha. Sakyamuni Buddha wanted to make him stay. Don't go. And try to keep him in the Sangha. And he said, I cannot accept it. You live and eat so luxuriously, and I'm first and foremost in monkhood cultivation. What is Sravakas? I'm asking you. Around Sakyamuni Buddha, there are 10 great Sravakas or 10 great Arhats. Why are they called Sravakas? What are they? Which means the hearers. So that means they personally hear Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma teaching. So they heard Sakyamuni Buddha's voice and Sakyamuni Buddha's Dharma teachings and have attainment due to that. They are called hearers or Sravakas. So what I talked about today, Sariputra Moggallana, Subhuti, and Ananda
8岁等身像，12岁等身像，后面都
were carved behind Sakyamuni Buddha's 8-year-old and 12-year-old statues. The closest to Sakyamuni Buddha then. I knew if you go to the great Jokang temple or the lesser Jokang temple, and you would be able to see 4 of the 10 great arhats that were carved behind him, behind the statues. So this is what we talk about today. The Vajra Chatika Prajna Paramita Sutra. Tomorrow we will talk about chapter 4, not dwelling on anything. Do we have a Vajra Sutra discourse tomorrow during the grand ceremony? It's up to you, Grandmaster. It's up to me. Yes. Okay, tomorrow is grand ceremony, right? Tomorrow is grand ceremony. So let me share a couple of jokes. Let me tell you, what I'm telling you today is all a secret. Don't tell, okay? Nobody knew. It's necessary that you have the view of you don't have the view of sentient beings and lifespan. Nobody else knew. They all knew the statues of 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds, but the origin and what were carved behind them, only Grandmaster knew. Only Grandmaster knows. The elephant just got married to the ant for 2 days, and they wanted to get divorced. And the judge asked, why? And then the ant said, to have a kiss, I have to climb 20 minutes. And the elephant was even more angry. Just to have a kiss, I need to use a magnifying glass to find her. And I cannot breathe, otherwise she would fly. So it has to match. It has to match. Oh, right. One more thing that I need to explain. I cannot tell jokes anymore. Last time I was talking about those who don't come to listen to Dharma teaching would breach the precept of undermining, but not for this period of time. You don't come for the Dharma teaching because COVID-19 is here, the coronavirus. You don't dare to come. Listen to the Dharma teaching. That is forgivable. Second, if you have something and you cannot come listening to the Dharma teaching, but you watch over the internet or on the cell phones or computers, then you don't violate the precepts. Then you don't violate the precepts. So when Grandmaster gives Dharma teachings and you intentionally not come, although you are able to come, then you're violating the precepts. But for this period of time, because of the virus, we cannot have huge gathering and we have so many rules. So that's not the breach of the precept. Because maybe you're scared of gatherings, and what if you're infected? Okay, that's all for today. 非常感谢